Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Apex Investor. This is the video. Basically, I watched the interview that SterlingStocks did with George Pelikaras and Ken Rice, and I took extensive notes. I'm going to just summarize what was presented in almost an hour and condense it down to a shorter time for your viewing pleasure. So, number one, the Willow Glass deal was confirmed. Next, the aerospace industry can have their own customized version of NanoWeb. The automotive industry can have their own version of customized NanoWeb as well. There are many different options that they can select. For example, de-icing, defogging, invisible 5G antenna, and so on. But it can be customized according to the customer's needs. Next is the potential licensing with their partners can be an extra source of income. No direct competitors to Meta Materials right now. They are the top dog, so that is great news. They have attracted new hires from bigger companies, and we've seen that in their press releases. People coming from companies like Google and so on. So buying Nanotech was not part of their original plans. However, the Torchlight acquisition they realized was going to be so lucrative for them that it actually opened the door for them to have the opportunity, the option to even buy a Nanotech in the first place. International partnerships, they make Meta Materials an international company. We have the Sekisui deal, which is a Japanese deal, and then Covestro, which is a German company. Production capacity has been cut in half. They can do things at a much larger scale and way more efficiently in terms of cost of energy. Going public on the NASDAQ has enabled Meta to grow as a company in a way that they couldn't without going public. Because they are a B2B company, this makes press releases a little more complicated. So instead of Meta releasing news, watch for their partners to release, to make press releases instead. So the analogy that George used was like Meta Materials is like Yoda, and their partners, wherever they are more like Luke Skywalker. So they want to make their partners enable them to make the announcements and have the power to market themselves. And Meta Materials, this is a really, really important point. They have a gag order because of the partners, and those partners who have competitors. So that is a reason why there is a gag order on them. So they can't just come out and say, okay, we have a deal with so-and-so company. Next is the quarterly statements are going to be the really big proof to show us that the revenue is growing. So it will not be PR that is going to drive Meta Materials stock price up. Most likely it will be the Q quarterly reports. Next is smart cities. George said, wait for Sekisui to announce it, and it will be announced eventually. The merger with Torchlight was done back in July 2021, so that was put to rest. Regarding the dividend, Greg McCabe, who is the CEO of Torchlight, has not sold a single share of Meta Materials. The maximum value when it comes to the dividend will be given to the shareholders, all shareholders, whether you're a big fish or just a small holder, you just have like one share or less than 100. The drilling is being done right now in terms of the oil and gas assets, but it has been delayed, but not by much. The reason it has been delayed is because of COVID. It delayed it a little bit, but rest assured it will be completed. Regarding people who want updates, asking for updates on social media and so on, important news will be released when they have to release it. A communication will be delivered, and it must be delivered accurately. So the best way to ask them a question is to call Marco Manosky at Investor Relations. So that is the best avenue to get more information accurately. The drilling operation is in very good hands, so don't worry about that. Then they ended their question period, and they brought up some thoughts regarding Twitter. Number one, Twitter is problematic for many companies because the SEC does not recognize Twitter as a valid source of releasing information to your shareholders. In fact, Twitter can get metamaterials in trouble if they do so carelessly, releasing things on Twitter. For example, GameStop was used as a prime example where the company, GameStop, and its management did not feed into the frenzy. They didn't release anything on their Twitter. It was retail buyers who were just doing that themselves, hyping themselves and creating a buying frenzy. Regarding Tesla, the rumors that they merged or there's some kind of deal going in the back with Tesla and metamaterials. No, they only share space. There is no official relationship between metamaterials and Tesla. However, their technologies, Meta's technologies, can potentially be useful for Tesla and other EV manufacturers. And here's an important factoid. George did have discussions. Sorry about that. George did have discussions with many electric vehicle and automobile manufacturers, but nothing has been announced yet. One thing we should be excited about regarding metamaterials is they have many areas for growth, and I have a video I plan to do, or videos regarding that, many areas for growth. So they are not a one-trick pony. They don't just deal with medical or just aerospace. They do so many things, so many industries. The one metric that matters is very important to their business is cost per square meter of printing their film, the nanoweb, and other things. It used to be $100,000 per square meter. Now they're able to lower the cost at a much more affordable rate, but the goal is eventually to be $10 per square meter. So that is only going to make them more efficient and attractive to big companies. Covestro and SekiSui are very important partnerships. They stress that, and there are more coming to be announced. Regarding the Nanotech acquisition, this was a perfect match. It is a perfect match for metamaterials. The production capacity has increased 100%, and this was a mutually beneficial acquisition for both companies. Regarding medical products, you need human data. That's one of the most important things in regards to that. Until the risk is low enough, large medical and pharmaceutical companies need to feel safe to partner with metamaterials. They will most likely not acquire metamaterials. There won't be a buyout because there is a stigma of a product or a business losing its value after you acquire another company. So that's very important. Those are all the big points that I noticed, that I observed in the interview. It was an excellent interview that Sterling did. Thank you very much for that, sir. I will post a link to that interview. I highly recommend, strongly recommend it. The highest recommendation for you to watch it. So please give it a watch. But if you don't have time, this is what this video is for, to save you some time. Of spending an hour and watching that. So that's all I have for you for this presentation. I hope it was useful to you and saving you some time to make you more efficient. That's what metamaterials is doing. They're trying to be a way more efficient company, cost efficient and time efficient and all things. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm more bullish about this company than ever before. And as George said at the close of the interview, go beyond. That's all for today.